5 years ago, feed cost half of what it does today. Now it feels like every trip to the feed store hits harder than the last one. Prices keep rising, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. If you raise chickens, you already know the truth. Almost 70% of what you spend goes straight into their mouths. Not the coop, not the fencing, not the labor, just feed. And somewhere between your wallet and their beaks, someone is getting rich. But here's what makes this even harder to accept. There's a plant that grows itself. It doubles every 3 days. It produces more usable protein per acre than soy, and it costs almost nothing to maintain. Peer-reviewed studies show it can safely replace up to 45% of commercial chicken feed. So why has your feed store never mentioned it? There are 2 reasons. One has to do with how it grows. The other has to do with who profits when you do not know. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to grow it, harvest it, and feed it to your animals for almost nothing. The plant that shouldn't exist. The plant is called azolla. It is a small floating water fern. It looks simple, almost too simple. It spreads across the surface of still water like a soft green carpet. But what it does is not simple at all. Azolla grows by copying itself. You do not replant it, you do not reseed it. When you harvest half of it, the other half grows back. Under the right conditions, it can double in just 3 days. That means if you start with a small patch, it can cover an entire pond in weeks. And once it is established, it keeps going. Now here's the part that makes people pause. Per acre, azolla can produce more usable protein than soybeans. Soy is grown across millions of acres around the world. It drives global trade, it moves markets, and yet this tiny water plant can compete with it in protein output while growing in a shallow pond. It feels too good to be true. A plant that feeds itself, a plant that multiplies without buying new seed, a plant that can cut feed costs without lowering performance. So if this works, if the science is real, and if farmers have tested it for decades, why is nobody talking about it? The science nobody talks about. This is not a rumor from the internet. It is not one farmer's lucky experiment. The science goes back decades. In 1978, researchers in India ran one of the first major feeding trials using azolla for poultry. They replaced 20% of commercial chicken feed with fresh azolla. The results surprised many people. The birds showed no loss in growth, no drop in performance, and no decline in health. The study also calculated that a shallow pond of about 60 square meters could produce enough azolla each day to support 100 chickens at that level of replacement. In 2002, researchers took the test further. They divided birds into groups. One group received full commercial feed. The other group received 75% commercial feed, with the remaining 25% replaced by azolla. At the end of the trial, both groups reached the same final weight. Meat quality stayed the same, but the second group cost less to raise because feed expenses dropped by 25%. Then in 2022, a study published through the National Institutes of Health examined inclusion levels up to 45% of the total diet. Researchers reported improved feed conversion ratios and no harmful effects on blood chemistry or liver function. More than 90 studies across Asia and Africa have reported similar findings. This is not folklore, it is peer-reviewed science, published in agricultural and medical journals around the world. The real reason it's hidden. Now here's the part most people never hear. The global animal feed industry is worth more than $500 billion. Soybean meal alone drives massive international trade. Entire supply chains depend on farmers buying feed every single month. Ships move it across oceans. Markets rise and fall because of it. Banks finance it. Governments protect it. Azolla does not fit into that system. It cannot be patented. It cannot be locked behind a license. It does not require you to buy seed every season. It copies itself. When you harvest half your pond, it grows back in days. No corporation owns it. No company controls it. And that makes it difficult to sell at scale. The modern agricultural system is built around inputs you purchase: feed, supplements, fertilizers, additives. Every step is designed to keep you dependent on something you must buy again. Azolla breaks that pattern. It moves you towards self-sufficiency instead of repeat spending. Nobody had to bury this knowledge. The system simply has no reason to promote something that reduces its own profits. If you value practical methods like this, the kind that quietly save money year after year, consider subscribing. We uncover strategies that work in the real world, not just in advertisements. Because once you see how this works, you start asking a bigger question. If this one solution was ignored, what else have we been missing? Building your own protein factory. Forget decorative ponds. This is not landscaping. This is production. Start small. Build a pond that is 2 meters by 2 meters. That gives you 4 square meters of growing space. Once the system is stable, this size can produce around 500 to 600 grams of fresh azolla every single day. That may not sound like much at first, but it adds up fast. Here is the simple math. To replace about 20% of feed for one chicken, you need roughly 0.6 square meters of growing area. That means a 60 square meter system can support about 100 chickens at that level. Do not build one giant pond. Build multiple small ones. Smaller ponds are easier to control, easier to clean, and safer if something goes wrong. Location matters more than size. Azolla needs 50 to 70% shade. Too much direct sun will burn it. Too much shade will slow growth. Under a tree canopy works well. If you do not have trees, use shade cloth rated around 50%. Dig the pond 20 to 25 centimeters deep. If digging is not possible, build a raised frame of the same depth and line it with strong plastic or pond liner. Spread 2 to 3 centimeters of fine soil across the bottom. Then mix about 3 kilograms of fresh cow dung with water to make a slurry and pour it over the soil. Fill the pond with water to a depth of 10 to 12 centimeters. Wait 2 to 3 days. Then add about 400 grams of azolla starter per square meter. Spread it evenly across the surface. Your first harvest should come in 15 to 20 days. But remember this, do not treat azolla like a garden. Treat it like a factory. A factory only works if production never stops. Maintenance rules that make or break it. Once your pond is running, the work is simple, but it must be consistent. Spend 5 minutes a day on it. Harvest the excess, check the water level, remove any debris. If you skip one day, nothing happens. If you skip a week, the system can crash. Every 5 days, feed the pond. Mix about 1 kilogram of fresh cow dung with water and pour it in evenly. Then add around 20 grams of superphosphate. This part is critical. Azolla needs phosphorus to grow fast. Without it, growth slows and the color may change. Superphosphate is inexpensive and easy to find, but it makes a huge difference. Every 10 days, replace about 25 to 30% of the water. Remove old water first, then add fresh water. This prevents nutrient buildup that can harm the plants. Once a month, replace about 5 kilograms of the bottom soil with fresh soil. Add a small micronutrient mix if available to keep growth strong. Every 6 months, do a full reset. Empty the pond, clean the liner. Add fresh soil, fresh slurry, and fresh starter. This keeps disease and pathogens from building up over time. Keep the temperature between 18 and 28 degrees Celsius. Above 35 degrees, azolla can die quickly. Check pH weekly. Aim for 5.5 to 7. Harvest daily to prevent overcrowding. If the mat gets too thick, the bottom layer dies and releases ammonia. If it turns red, increase shade and add phosphorus. If it turns yellow, change water immediately. Act fast. Small corrections prevent big losses. Feeding protocols? Chickens first. Azolla can be fed fresh or dried, but the way you use it matters. Fresh azolla contains a lot of water. Dried azolla is much more concentrated. In fact, dried meal is about 5 times stronger by weight than fresh. That means you must adjust your feeding amounts carefully. For broiler chickens, fresh azolla can safely replace about 20 to 25% of their commercial feed. Studies show that at this level, growth stays the same, and feed conversion can even improve. If you are using dried azolla meal instead, include it at about 5 to 10% of the total diet. This range tends to give the best results without slowing growth. Some research has tested higher levels, but moderate inclusion is the safest starting point. For laying hens, the numbers are similar. Fresh azolla can replace up to 25% of their feed. Dried meal works well at around 10 to 15%. Many farmers notice deeper yellow or orange yolks because azolla contains natural beta-carotene. Egg production usually stays stable and sometimes improves slightly. One important note, azolla is lower in calcium than commercial layer feed. Always keep offering oyster shell or another calcium source for strong eggshells. Here is the simple math. 100 chickens need about 9 kilograms of fresh azolla per day to replace 20% of their feed. That requires roughly 60 square meters of growing area. Other animals, ducks to cattle. Chickens are only the beginning. Ducks and geese handle azolla even better. They digest plant fiber more efficiently, and can eat up to 30 to 40% of their diet as fresh azolla without problems. In many parts of Asia, ducks have been raised alongside azolla ponds for centuries, but do not let them into your main production pond. They will destroy the entire surface in hours. If you want an integrated system, keep the growing pond separate and feed the harvest to them. Cattle also respond well. Research from India shows that feeding 1.5 to 2 kilograms of fresh azolla per cow per day can increase milk yield by 15 to 20%. Farmers often report better coat condition and improved digestion as well. Goats and sheep can replace part of their concentrate feed with dried azolla, usually around 10 to 15%. Some studies have replaced even more soybean meal without hurting performance. Pigs can handle 15 to 30% replacement of soybean protein, though moderate levels are safer. Rabbits digest plant material efficiently and do well with 30 to 40% replacement. Fish such as tilapia, carp, and catfish can receive up to 25% of their diet as azolla meal. This is not a single animal solution. It is a flexible protein source that fits across species. The economics that change everything. Let's talk about money, because this is where everything shifts. Setting up a small 4 square meter pond usually costs under $50. You need plastic lining, some soil, and basic materials. If you already have livestock, cow dung is free. Once the pond is running, your monthly cost is extremely low. A little superphosphate, a little water, that is mostly it. When you calculate production, azolla can cost less than 2 cents per kilogram to grow. Compare that to commercial feed, which often costs 30 to 50 cents per kilogram, depending on where you live. The gap is not small, it is massive. Now look at the bigger picture. Feed makes up about 70% of your total chicken costs. If you replace 20% of that feed with azolla, you reduce your total production costs by about 14% overall. For 100 chickens eating around 15 kilograms of feed per day, replacing 20% saves about 3 kilograms of commercial feed daily. At 40 cents per kilogram, that is about $1.20 per day. That becomes roughly $36 per month and about $432 per year. But this is not just about savings, it is about control. Every kilogram you grow is one less kilogram you depend on from a market you cannot control. The choice. This knowledge is not new. It has existed for decades. It was tested in the 1970s, studied again in the 2000s. Confirmed in recent years, it was never buried in secret vaults. It was simply ignored by a system that earns more when you keep buying. But now you know there is a plant that grows itself. You know it can replace part of your feed. You know the science supports it. And you know the numbers make sense. So here's the choice. You can keep paying rising prices and hoping the market gets kinder. Or you can build one pond this month. Just one, 4 square meters, 15 days to your first harvest. This is not just about chickens. It is about control. It is about freedom. And that decision is now yours. Build one pond and test it for yourself. Start small. Give it 30 days. Then come back and share your results in the comments so others can learn from you. If you want more practical systems that actually work in the real world, make sure you subscribe and watch the next video on your screen because what you learn there makes this even more powerful.